Hello, you are watching me, Mick, on my YouTube channel, Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on X at Movies TV Mad and on Instagram, Movies TV Mad X. Welcome to my daily 30-minute video. And today we're talking James Gunn, confusing us, the fans, yet again. And we're talking about David Ayer not being a happy bunny. He seems to be betrayed by James Gunn. We will get into it, but that situation was always going to happen because David Ayer is still trying hard to get his Ayer cut released. But first of all, we are in a very, very interesting situation right now because James Gunn can't stop going on threads answering fan questions, interacting with fans. Now, I think this is a very, very good thing. But in the end, James gets us and himself dizzy as he goes round in circles and maybe says things he shouldn't say. So let's discuss this. So a few years back, after the Batman, and when was the Batman released? A couple of years ago now, we heard he was doing a GCPD series on Max. That GCPD series became Arkham. Again, it was going to be exclusively part of The Batman universe. James Gunn has been asked several questions about Matt Reeves' Elseworld, The Batman universe. He was asked, for example, we discussed this the other day, but I think this is important, so we'll go over this quickly again. Why isn't Robert Pattinson's The Batman part of DC Universe? He said, that's not my decision, that's Matt's decision, and we have to respect that. Then yesterday, he said that this Arkham series that once was exclusively part of Matt's The Batman universe is now a DC Universe project. Yes, a DC Universe project, you heard right, still produced by Matt Reeves. Now this is a shock. This is a real shock. Now, this has even shocked Boba Talks, a brilliant YouTuber that I love to support because I think he's very, very good. He's a passionate Matt Reeves, the Batman fan and part of that universe. Boba is also very passionate about everything staying in that self-contained universe. And I don't blame him. All of a sudden, this Arkham series is not part of the Batman universe, it's part of DC Universe. And I can only talk on my views from the outside looking in. It seems to me that Matt Reeves has had to make this sacrifice so he can keep Robert Pattinson's Batman exclusively self-contained in the Batman universe. But it does ask the question, and it does beg the question, why does James Gunn want a project that was part of another universe, part of his? It seems to me that maybe he wants an Arkham series and they can't have two. You can't have an Arkham series in the Batman universe and in the DCU as well. So clearly he's taken it. And to me, this is a bit of a betrayal by James Gunn. But it looks like this is a sacrifice that Matt Reeves has had to begrudgingly make. Now, the Batman fandom, as I've already said, are up in arms. They are not happy about this situation. And I can't blame them. Like someone like Boba Talks has been one of James Gunn's ardent defenders. You just watch the tune change very, very quickly when it doesn't suit their narrative. Maybe those crazy Snyder fans weren't so wrong about James Gunn after all. Let's be clear about this. I am a fan of his comic book movies. He's a very good writer-director, but he also has a huge ego. And this has become a very, very interesting situation to me because it's a surprise. I don't think anyone can say they're not surprised that suddenly Arkham is a DC Universe project. And I think James Gunn has thrown this grenade, then walked off before it's exploded. But it'll be interesting if we get any response from Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves is on X. He rarely posts. He posted to congratulate Snyder on the Snyder Cut a couple of years ago, which was brilliant. They are good friends after all, and that's brilliant. That's why I've never understood the hate towards Matt Reeves, the Batman universe, from Snyder fans. I understand that they feel betrayed that Reeves took that movie when it was supposed to be Ben Affleck's The Batman movie, but at the end of the day, Reeves was brought in, he had the opportunity to do his own thing. Who wouldn't have done the same? And Zack certainly doesn't feel betrayed by Matt Reeves, I can tell you that much. But this is a betrayal, because was going to be a very interesting show. Let me take you back to the Batman movie, where it's revealed, I didn't even know, and I'm not sure if this is a thing, that in the comics that Martha is Martha Arkham, and we learn about the history, about the Arkham family and the asylum that they built. I knew nothing about this from the comics. I don't know if it's part of the comics or if it's something that Matt made up himself. But it was very, very interesting. So clearly, that narrative was going to continue in his Arkham series. But surely now it's part of DC Universe, that whole thing is going to change. And I'm very shocked and disappointed by this. Why does he want this Arkham series to be part of DC Universe? He's been talking a lot about Todd Phillips' Joker universe and Matt Reeves' universe. Leave them alone. But is it that he's a bit worried about these universes? Because I believe Joker Folie à Deux will make more money than Superman Legacy. I believe that Batman 2 will make more money than Superman Legacy. I believe there's more excitement for Joker Folie à Deux than Superman Legacy. I'm a Superman fan. He is my character. I'm excited to see this movie. James Gunn could end up cooking with this movie, posting verisimilitude, that long word that Dick Donner came up with to, basically, it basically means that everything you're seeing is happening. Not part of a real world, but it's happening. You're going to believe it's actually happening. So James Gunn posted that. He's talking a lot about Superman Legacy in his DC universe. It's clear they're very, very desperate and they want the fans on their side. But things like this, like the Arkham series being taken away from Matt Reeves in the Batman universe and becoming a DC universe show, to me, is very odd. And I don't think it can be justified by the Shields as it normally is. It sounds to me like a very, very problematic situation. And yes, the Batman fans and stans are not happy about this. Now, when Snyder fans come out and complain about James Gunn, the removal of Henry Cavill, the removal of Henry Cavill from the Flash movie, which was James Gunn's decision as well, bringing in George Clooney as a cameo in the Flash movie was James Gunn's decision. Interference that didn't need to happen. We should have seen Henry Cavill in the Flash movie. It doesn't hurt what he's planning, but unfortunately he wanted to use the Flash movie as a backdoor entrance for his DC universe. There was no need for any of that, but he did it. So you could say James Gunn's sins are there for everyone to be seen, despite me thinking he's a really talented writer-director. He's making some mistakes and he is upsetting people, but it's not just the Snyder fans he's upsetting now. Now he's upsetting Matt Reeves, the Batman fans, and this is not a very, very good idea at all. Because it's pretty obvious to me, if you want the Arkham series as part of your universe, you obviously wanted Rob Pattinson as part of your Batman in your DC universe as well, and you didn't get your own way, so you've decided to do this. As I said, excuse me, but as I said earlier, I don't understand the motivation. Do you need an Arkham series in DC Universe? Couldn't you have done something else? It doesn't really make sense. But for me, Matt Reeves is producing, but there's silent producers. He isn't going to have anything to do with this story. Gunn said that we love Matt and we want him to be producing stuff in DC Universe. Bullshit. Obviously, Todd Phillips must be very happy that he hasn't said he loves him. Because try taking something from Todd Phillips, you'd end up having a bloody nose. That's the difference. Todd Phillips cooked with the Joker. There's no question about that. $1 billion movie. And we are going to get a unique sequel to that movie. And I expect that movie to make a lot of money. Listen, it's very, very interesting what's going on with Follow and Do. I've heard a lot of exciting things about that movie. You are not ready. I asked this question yesterday as we spoke about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, and I asked, does DC Studios want that film to fail? It's like the Joker and the Batman. Do they want those films to fail? James Gunn doesn't want an Elseworld universe. He's not going to give you other Elseworld projects. What's happened to Constantine? Before he came along, it was happening. Now it's not. He doesn't want another universe. The truth is, like his friend Kevin Feige, he wants everything to be connected. He talks about a good game and he doesn't want everything to be homework, and he wants good standalone movies. And he may give us that starting with Superman Legacy. I have no idea, but this stinks. And even if he wills Matt Reeves out to explain it and support it, I won't believe a word you say, Matt. You can't be happy about this, but you've been forced into a position. And this is the problem, because James Gunn walked into a situation that wasn't good for anyone. We had the DC Extended Universe. We had the Snyder situation. We had the Todd Phillips situation. We had the Matt Reeves situation. All problematic when you've come in and been told by the CEO of the studio, David Zaslav, to create an interconnected franchise. What do you do with the Batman? What do you do with the Joker universe? Well, they're there. The CEO, although he wants an interconnected movie, streaming, TV and gaming universe, doesn't want Matt Reeves, the Batman, touched. He wants that to continue. He doesn't want the Joker to be touched. He wants that to continue because there's money there. We know that Todd Phillips was approached to be CEO of DC Studios. Todd Phillips said no. And I'm pretty confident that he also asked Matt Reeves to run DC Studios. And I'm sure Matt was smart enough to say no as well. And so already you can see the old problems happening again with the other leadership, where you had Snyder versus Emmerich, and now you seem to have Reeves and Phillips versus Gunn. Even though Reeves is pretending to be Team Gunn, that isn't the case once you interfere with his shit. Because Matt Reeves, James Gunn's words, not mine, doesn't want the Batman to be part of DC Universe. So if he doesn't want that, how can he want the Arkham series to be part of DC Universe? It doesn't make sense, does it, everyone? And anyone who's upset about this has every right. And again, there was no need for Gunn to speak about this at this point, because we're at the Penguin stage, right? Why don't you just wait and see what happens with the Penguin? We were told that Matt was going to be allowed to cook with his own cinematic streaming universe in the Batman universe. So none of this makes sense, but for me, it is an absolute betrayal. And as I say, Matt Reeves can't be happy about this. I want your comments and interactions about this. Do you think it's right to take the Arkham series that was part of Matt Reeves' the Batman universe and transfer it over to DC Universe? Do you understand my views on it? Do you understand that it's wrong? It is wrong. Why are you taking this series for yourself? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I'd like to know what my brilliant, faithful, loyal subscribers and anyone coming in cold who's not a subscriber, why aren't you a subscriber? Come on, subscribe, like the damn video. It's me, Mick. I'm a fellow nerd. I'm nothing special. I'm not better than you. I'm not worse than you. Or maybe I am. Anyway, that's that. So my view on that is that Matt has been given no choice. It's either your Batman in my universe or your Arkham series. And let's stay on this subject a little bit longer before we get to David Ayer and Suicide Squad, because in a way, it's like Gunn is playing hardball here. That in truth, he hasn't given up on taking his Batman, Matt Reeves' Batman, Rob Pattinson, and making him a DC Universe Batman. And it sounds like him announcing that Arkham is now a DC Universe show, that this is part of the beginning of forcing Matt to agree to allow his universe to be part of DC Universe. Because it's clear to me, Gunn doesn't want two Batmen. He doesn't want one there and one there. It is a little bit untidy, if you ask me, but that's the situation he found. And maybe now Matt can see what happened to Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck was going to write and direct and star in his own The Batman movie. Something outstanding. I've read the pitch. It is amazing. This movie would have cooked. So like Snyder and Batfleck fans feel betrayed, now Matt, maybe you know how they feel. This is how this industry works, and I can see this nothing less than a betrayal on what Matt Reeves is cooking over there at the Batman universe. And yes, a very, very uncomfortable situation. As I say, I expect Matt Reeves to have to come out and clarify a few situations. Matt's not a talker, Matt's a worker. We know that. Gunn's the talker. I mean, it's clear to me that Gunn's not going to shut the F up until he starts proper production on Superman Legacy. And even then, you're going to get pictures. This is the way. This is the MCU way of working. But old-fashioned directors just make their stuff, they cook, and they move on. But James Gunn is the new age creative, where there's an ego there, and he talks and talks and talks. As I say, it's not a bad thing to interact with fans. It's a good thing. It's a really good thing. But the more he talks, as I said the other day, he keeps on digging holes for himself. Then on the other hand, he's filling them back in. And this is what this Arkham Asylum situation is to me. It's messy. It doesn't look fair or right on Matt Reeves, and it's a mess. It's an absolute mess, and we're seeing what happens with this and what transpires. But this could be something that Gunn comes back and says, actually, I made a mistake. They asked him about if there'd be any more kind of Arkham games or whatever, something like that. He said yes, and then he deleted the reply. Do you see what I'm saying? He's being asked things. He's saying things off the cuff, then he's being told off by someone upstairs, and then he's deleting it. You know, this isn't good, everyone. Well done, James. You've been talking to the fans. Stick to Superman Legacy. Stick to what you can talk about. If you can't answer a question, don't answer it or say, sorry, I can't talk about that right now. Because here's the truth. He shouldn't even be talking about Matt Reeves, the Batman universe, or Todd Phillips, the Joker universe. Now, he keeps on saying that it all falls under the umbrella of DC Universe. But here's the thing. It may all be, and it doesn't fall under the umbrella of DC Universe. Let me correct myself. That he keeps on saying it falls under the umbrella of DC Studios because it's DC. Yeah, and you may be co-CEO of DC Studios, but you have no say on what happens on those movies, and you know it. But still, you're pushing and pushing those directors. You focus on your own shit. You're developing a movie, TV, streaming, gaming universe. Isn't that enough for you to be getting on with? Leave those lads alone to cook, and you cook as well. Because this kind of thing, James, doesn't win you any friends. The same as the treatment of David Ayer. Let's go back to 2021, where David Ayer was very, very supportive of James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, promoting it, and it seemed to me that James Gunn had made some kind of promise to Ayer that if he supported The Suicide Squad, because Gunn's not stupid, he knew there'd be resistance to that movie because of what happened to David Ayer in his Suicide Squad movie. So it's clear he made Ayer some promises. Well, Ayer came on to X yesterday saying, I need to write a book about the goings-on in Hollywood. And it doesn't sound to me like this book would be a positive kind of Hollywood autobiography, if you ask me. So he doesn't sound happy. Then he started posting a multitude of times about his Suicide Squad movie, giving some wonderful information, talking about how Joker actually has a brilliant, beautiful arc in that movie, unlike what we got. In fact, he went as far to say that Jared Leto's Joker is nothing like in his cut like he was in the theatrical cut. I quite like the theatrical cut. I thought Leto did quite well with it. But it seems to me that the narrative of the Ayer cut is very different to the theatrical version of that movie. So Ayer isn't a happy bunny, and even though in the past he's been quoted in saying, let James Gunn cook with Superman Legacy and DC Universe first, I don't want to be interfering with that, then we'll talk about my cut. It sounds like he's playing a different tune on his fiddle now. Because here's my view. There is no reason why you can't release the Ayer cut here and now on Max, on physical media and digital media immediately. This is not the Snyder cut. He doesn't need 70 million to shoot additional footage. It is ready. It is ready to go. There is no reason. But for me, it sounds to me that Gunn may be a little bit concerned that this movie is better than his, and that there may be a call and interest for more David Ayer Suicide Squad stuff. Because we all know, even with that theatrical cut edited by a pop music video company, that Harley Quinn is depicted better than she was in Gunn's movie. Despite the sexualization of Harley and Margot, which wasn't good, but again, that wasn't David Ayer. That was the additional stuff they wanted. They're the changes that they wanted. So we'll see how Harley is depicted in the Ayer cut. Well, we hope we see it. I'm desperate to see the Ayer cut. But it seems to me that Gunn may be worried that Ayer's movie is better than his, and because, as we've said, he has got an ego. So we really are back, as I said earlier, back to the days of, Snyder versus WB Pictures. And now Ayer, who doesn't really work for WB anymore, he's worked for Netflix, he's doing a few things, he's been a working director since 2016, he's been cooking very, very well. Why do you think Will Smith didn't return to James Gunn's The Suicide Squad? Will and David Ayer are very, very good collaborators, very loyal to each other, and Will clearly, despite saying it was all scheduling, didn't want anything to do with James Gunn and his Suicide Squad movie. So that was interesting. So he had to bring on Idris Elba to play another character, which was very similar to Deadshot. Let's be honest about that. Now, Elba's character was very, very good, but I don't think he was as good as Will Smith's character, Deadshot, was in the first Suicide Squad movie. And I wonder how he is differently depicted in the Ayer cut as well. So we have a divide. Now, I don't know if Ayer's upset with Gunn at the moment, but it doesn't sound like he's as happy with him as he was before. He was very positive towards James Gunn. Now he doesn't really mention his name, and he's mentioning things about Hollywood and, saying he should write a book. I think this is an analogy for the way WB and Gunn have betrayed him. Gunn clearly promised to help him release that cut. If Gunn wanted to help him do it, that movie would come out immediately. How do you know Gunn's not going to air on the Let's say that again. How do you know Gunn's not going to Zaslav on the quiet and saying we can't release that movie, then going, hello, David Ayer. Yeah, I asked him. He said it's not the right time yet. I know Hollywood. I know these people, right? And basically, they'll smile like that, tell you how compassionate and kind they are, and they'll be knifing you in the back when you're not looking. You'll be thinking, what's that? Why do I feel sore in my back all of a sudden? My friend was just patting me there. You can't trust them. You can't trust these people. And I did warn David Ayer on X, when it was Twitter. I said to him, you can't trust this guy because he's in to do his own universe. I wasn't being deliberately toxic towards James, but it's true. And he quote tweeted me and tried, he wasn't being horrible to me, but he was trying to say I was wrong. And as I say, I know these people. I understand where James Gunn's coming from here. He wants to do his own thing. But as he said himself, he came in to a very, very tricky situation. Todd Phillips, the Joker, Matt Reeves, the Batman, Snyder, Ayer, and he's inherited this stuff. So, it's not just as simple as cooking in your own universe when you've got these grenades going off around you. It's clear that James Gunn just wants his own universe and he doesn't want anything around him. He doesn't want Joker. He doesn't want the Batman universe. That's clear. So, and he doesn't want two Batmen. Why do you think he hasn't cast the Batman yet? Because we've heard all this stuff of how a script's not ready and I don't cast without a script. Blah-de-blah-de-blah. Well, you appointed a director just before the Flash movie was released. You appointed Andres Muschietti, the Flash director, just before the movie was released. And I was very cynical about that situation, saying it was just to add hype to the Flash movie. It didn't work. And I said to you, eventually we'll find out that Andres Muschietti isn't actually directing Brave and the Bold, right? He wants Robert Pattinson's The Batman at DC Universe. And declaring that Arkham is now part of DC Universe tells me that. He's saying that's Matt's decision, that Rob Pattinson's The Batman isn't part of DC Universe, but he ain't happy about it. As I said to you, he don't want a Joker universe. He don't want the Batman universe. He wants everything in one place, right? Just because he's saying, we love Matt here at DC Studios. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. He says he loves Matt, but he doesn't say he loves Todd Phillips. I'm not surprised. I mean, Todd is totally the opposite in ideology and everything. Todd Phillips is a genius, a real genius. We know that, from his other movies. I mean, in the past, he's done comedies, right? The Hangover trilogy, brilliant, right? And, and his association with Bradley Cooper has been very, very important because Bradley Cooper, as we've seen from the Maestro interviews, he's very much linked with Scorsese and very close to Lady Gaga. The reason Lady Gaga is playing Harley in Folie à Deux is because Bradley Cooper got her on the project. Bradley Cooper produced the first movie, the first Joker, and he's producing this one as well. I think, basically, I would have loved Bradley Cooper to be CEO of DC Studios because he's connected with the right people who understand movies. Todd Phillips understands movies. Scorsese understands movies. And as we've seen the clips from the Maestro, Bradley Cooper absolutely understands movies as well. This is a guy who started off on the Alias TV show, brilliant TV show from J.J. Abrams. And, as we've been asking all along, is James Gunn the right guy? But this is what Zaslav wants, because we've been here before. James Gunn was doing Superman Legacy, whether or not it was going to be part of some big universe. He was doing that movie when they brought him in to do the Suicide Squad. He agreed to do a Superman movie once he did the Suicide Squad. He was always making that movie. These were interesting decisions because clearly Emmerich thought James Gunn is the right guy. He's from Marvel. He did Guardians. And it remains to be seen if Superman Legacy and DC Universe are going to be successful. And as I've said many times before, that remains to be seen. It's not a foregone conclusion it's going to flail. It's not a foregone conclusion it's going to fail or flop, but it's not a foregone conclusion that it's going to succeed either. We're back to that at the end of the day. And these kind of things where we're hearing about Arkham, transferring over to DC Universe, very problematic. David Ayer coming on X and complaining about Hollywood, aka really James Gunn, but he can't come out and complain blatantly about James Gunn, it sounds to me that David Ayer and Matt Reeves are both getting stabbed in the back here. I'd love to know what you think.